Okay, and welcome Yoga for Runners for this short practice on the Strength Without Strain series, and we're looking at balance today. So balance to support us with both strength as well as the activity of being able to cope with being on one leg and moving to some extent, but be able to cope on how we manage the rest of our body when we take a position of balance. So to start with, we're just going to have our feet broadly hip distance apart. The reason we often come to this position is just so we kind of get more familiar with our alignment from our ankles to our knees to our hips. So just having that familiarity. So obviously if we're wider, then there's a different relationship. There's maybe a more stable relationship to the ground. So sometimes obviously we do take the legs out. But for this first one, I just want us to see a little bit more about where we are through our aligned body, if you like. So we're going to start just feeling our feet, and the easiest way for me to do that is to give my toes a wriggle. So just finding that option for wriggling the toes and just see what that does. So you can feel the toes move, you can feel underneath the balls of the feet, and it might feel also like it's giving you a little bit more weight backwards. And if you feel that, just ensuring that you don't push back in your knees, so it's a little softness in the knees so that the whole body can still stay supported from the ground. Okay, and then let the toes come back. So we're going to, as if we're moving more from the center of the body, we're just going to sway forward to bring our weight slightly over our balls of our feet and our toes. And then we just sway back, which might get us back to where we started, may have got us back beyond where we started. If you think of the movement from the center, from the pelvis, we still have a sense of extension through the spine. So we're not looking down, we're not collapsing down, just trying to keep and maintain that sense of uplift, if you like, sense of length through the upper body. Shoulders can be relaxing, breath can be relaxed. Breathing through the nose if you can. Shoulders down. Just noticing how the legs feel, inner legs, outer legs as you rock forward and back. And that you're not pushing forward with your head and your shoulders, they just follow in line with the pelvic movement, the rock. And return to standing. Still, that is. Again, making sure you don't push back in your knees to land. And just having a little bit of a nod of the head, just so you're aware where the top of the spine is and the neck feels lengthened and the crown of the head. And we're just going to take ourselves from side to side. Again, it feels a bit like we're moving from center, not moving with not leading with our shoulder, we're leading with the center of the body. So we're more likely to stay in line. Keeping the breath going, but keeping it soft. Weight goes to right leg and then left leg and then right leg. We feel the weight change and the lightness on the opposite foot, opposite leg. These really simple movements are just gathering our relationship, if you like, to gravity and our alignment, both in movement, simple movement, and then as we stop, we become still again, how we are, and how we feel, and how we can have a sense of support from the ground. so let's take our feet a little bit wider and do something different with the body. Okay, so we're going to move the hips side to side. Be conscious it's the pelvis that's doing the movement, but it's side to side. Sometimes we do the figure of 8, sometimes we do circles, but we're just going side to side here. And then let the arms be loose, but still have the sense of the length through the spine, so that you're not collapsing in your upper back, your lower back. The sense of head, crown of the head heading for the sky, and the movement is through the pelvis. So we're rotating from the base of the spine through the pelvic movement, and then the rotation continues up and through the body, all the way through the head. Okay. And then I'm just going to change that slightly, so there's a little bit more activation as we bend the elbows and take the hands around the body, letting them land where they land. Generally, it's going to be somewhere around the base of the rib cage, around the kidneys, and side to either side. Still that sense of extension though through the spine. And movement still from the center if you can, even though the arms are clearly more active. And see how you feel on that contact point with the feet, strength through the diaphragm and through the area where the arms are making contact, whether that gives you a little bit more muscular support around that area, feeling strong around the center without feeling tight. And then let the arms be loose again, release the shoulders. Wonderful. And let the shoulders release and feel that sense of release. Just slightly bend the knees, more than slightly. Take the weight down. Really feel the earth, really feel the ground underneath your feet. Move your toes again from this position. And then lengthen up a little bit. Okay, so we're going to just work a little bit more on side body connection now. So, I'm just going to step forward with one leg. I'm bending that leg and I'm taking my weight forward here, weight forward to this front leg. And whichever my back leg is, that's the arm I'm going to swing. But I'm still keeping a sense of length through the spine, a bit slight moving forward with the upper body to give that sense of movement and connection to the front foot, front leg. And then I lengthen through. And as I lengthen through, I'm peeling the back heel away. You might just about see that. So as I lengthen down the whole side of the body. So lengthening. There's a sense of connection between back heel and hand of that. Whichever side you're lengthening. You can extend the movement by looking behind you and taking the arm slightly further behind. Opens the movement a little bit bigger, but sometimes it just takes the whole body away from the balance. So you choose what you want to do with that, says he, just slipping over to one side. Okay. So there's a sense of integration here. So you're not throwing your arm up. You're not pushing from your toes. There's a sense of momentum as you move back and forth, loosening the shoulders without collapsing again. So a couple more times. And then relaxing that arm, slowing everything up. And great. Come back to center for the moment. Before we go to the second side, just feeling the impact of the side that's done the moving compared to the side that was still. And any sense of energy, aliveness, wakefulness, warm, any sense of connection of the arm into the center of the body. The moving arm. Okay, and go to our opposite side. So you choose how far forward you stand. So sometimes if you find the stance, get your stance wrong, that's when you're more likely to fall over. I think I took maybe a slightly too big a stance last time. Got my weight going through this front foot, still got the lengthening through the spine, and then I'm going to use same arm as my back leg to just get a sense of release and swing from the arm. And then I'm going to add in, extending the arm forward, and from that it's also allowing the back heel to peel away, back heel to peel away, back heel to peel away. And adding in, if you want to, this next stage, which is taking the arm back and gazing to the back arm, and then front, back, front, and just seeing if the peel in the heel still works. If not, you choose which you prefer to miss out in this extension and lengthen, freeing up the diaphragm maybe a little bit, freeing up that whole side body. So obviously if things are not going so well in the shoulders or the neck or some discomfort, just stop. You might come back to it. You might decide that's just enough. So again, we want the shoulder to feel integrated into the body. So there is a little bit of control if it's needed, yeah, rather than throwing everything out, throwing the arm out of the socket. Power comes from within the torso, upper back, chest. Okay, so a couple more. And then again, just let the arm naturally come to its still position and find out what's going on in the body. Okay, so where's the energy again? Where's the warmth? Where's that tingliness in the body? So not just looking for it in the arms and into the body, but hopefully that might be some sense of connection of our arms really being internally connected. They don't finish here. They come in and they're supported with the strength of the central body. But maybe also in the legs, maybe in the feet, maybe the thighs, have a little bit of that sense of they've worked a little bit, so they're giving you a little bit of support. Just take your hand to the belly and hand to the chest for a moment. And just allowing things to settle. Just noticing the breath, any movement in the belly, any movement in the chest. And just avoiding, if possible, any collapse in that upper body. Just still keeping the length. So we still want the breath to come, so that'll still be a sense of whether we've relaxed into position, but not collapsed into position. Okay, and just relax the arms to the side. So just as a reminder of this lengthening through the sternum, we can just bring the hands into that position. And you can have your feet and go for hip distance, but if you feel that you want feet wide little softening in the knees, softening around the shoulder and the jaw and eyes. Feeling the breath underneath the hands that are on the chest. I'm just going to do a bit more of a movement and bring the breath in if you wish to. So I'm bending the knees and releasing the hands, sweeping up, lengthening through the legs, maybe looking up. Return journey. As I come down again, I'm bending the knees, straightening the legs to come back to start position. Bending the knees, floating the arms up, bending the knees, bringing the hands back. So you could take a breath in, see how that feels, sweep up. Take a breath out, see how that feels to come down. But if the breath in doesn't feel right, then just see what feels right to carry you through that movement and to carry you back. Giving weight to the ground and lengthening. Giving weight to the ground and lengthening. So you could add a little bit of a pause in the breath at the end. So here, the pause. And here, the pause. 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 One more. Pause. And we'll just rest in this return position for a second. See how the shoulders feel. Hopefully relax down. Long neck. Bring the breath. Maybe just again take the hand to sternum and hand to the navel. Soften the knees. Feel the weight through the heels here. Okay, feel the heart beating. Light heart, but still be beating. And get a sense of the whole body standing, back of the body, front of the body. Feet on the ground. Warmth of the hands on the body. And release, maybe a little bit of a shake out, loosen up a little bit. Breath out maybe a little bit more. Through the mouth, just the out breath. Okay, so we'll do a movement that is actually a fairly common kind of drill before a training session maybe, so some of you may be really familiar with it. So I'm bringing one knee in and out, opposite knee in and then out, opposite knee, yeah, so it's almost like you're stepping over something, the knee comes up broadly to hip height, it goes kind of internally and then externally, it goes internally and then externally, externally, as we step, and we still have this sense of length in the body as we find our own rhythm, which might be a bit quicker to just change the rhythm from a lot of slower work to some extent. We did a little bit, maybe faster movement to lengthen through the side body. Just see how this feels in the hips and the pelvis. as we do our steps. So again, you might be really familiar with doing this. It will feel different without shoes than wearing your running shoes. A couple more times. And then see how you feel standing. So we've opened a little bit more around the hips. And that can change the whole kind of relationship, up shape if you like, in terms of up and into the spine. It can be quite subtle, it can be quite strong, that difference there. And again, we move quicker, so the breath might be starting to go a little bit faster, so just letting that calm for a moment. Feeling really connected to the ground without pushing back in the knees. Okay. So we're going to try what will be a new movement. Obviously, if you've just done the full class, it's not a new movement, but if you haven't, then it will be. So bringing up your favourite knee to hip height. And you point, well, you don't necessarily need to point the toe specifically, but you're heading towards the ground if you're dipping your toes into water. So the toes are not touching the floor. Doesn't matter if they do, but ideally there's a little bit of a hover. You come back with the knee, and then you take that out to the side. So we've got more of an external rotation. Up, dip the toe in the water, bring the knee back up, take the knee out, and dip the toe in the water over this side. It's a bit more balletic, if you like. So this hip, this pelvis is staying in neutral, broadly speaking, even on this external rotation. So it may mean that the knee doesn't go out very far, but the work we just did might have helped it a little bit to open up. And just reminding myself. So the slower you go, the more work's required, but how can you keep the breath present? How can you keep the length through the spine so that you're not collapsing down towards the earth? You've also got a little bit going on to keep that length. So one more on this first side. And what you may be noticing or may not be noticing is the work that's being done on your strong leg here. Let's land. Yeah, so I feel a lot of work's going on in my and this leg has been supporting that whole movement. Okay, so hands on pelvis and feet. We're going to do this side, don't we? I haven't forgotten. Not yet, anyway. So we're just going to circle the hips slowly around. Just see how things are going in terms of space for the hips and the pelvis to smooth that circuit. Feeling the skin, feeling the bone structure as you do the circuit. Getting that feedback, body, hands on, side body. Relax the shoulders if you can. Keep the breath soft, present. Let's circuit the other way. And arriving in the centre. Flapping the hands a bit. Loosening the wrists to get tense and tight for most of us. Okay, so it's going to be the other leg. Yeah, so if you're not sure, just do your automatic one and then it must be the other one. Okay, so I'm trying to give some stability on my strong leg and then knee up to hip and point the toes. Broadly speaking, it doesn't have to be strong. toe in the water, knee up, taking the knee out and extend. Lengthening through the spine and breathing. And relaxing the shoulders and the jaw and the cheeks and the eyes. Well done. So one more after this one. And back on solid ground with both legs. A little bit of a bend your knee, just let everything loosen, that's tight. Spine feel loose, shoulders feel loose. Just loosen the breath. Okay. So, we'll go on to a slightly more interesting balance. So I'll see if I can stand up first. If I can't, we're not going to be doing it. Okay, so certainly we've done this before. I'm slightly changing the way I'm using my arms in this movement. So we start with what's we do fairly commonly, fairly frequently, is by rounding the back to get the hand to access the ankle and allowing the knee to drop towards the floor. So it might go out to the side, it might go straight down. So you're looking for alignment if you can, so your knees heading towards the ground. And there's a little bit of a sense of the pelvis coming forward, so you get that lengthening through the quads. Back, the shoulder that's holding the hand can release back. Still sense of length through the body, through the spine. Okay, and if you needed the wall, then you would have needed to choose something that you could hold on to safely from here. So that's sort of the first stage. The second stage is to bend the straight knee, bend the arm, and pivot forward slightly. So you don't have to go very far. Just see what feels doable and get yourself back up. And repeat that. So maybe you're doing it with me, maybe you're watching and you're going to join when you feel ready. If you feel like the knee's not happy, you'll either come out of it and leave it, or you just try and get a little bit more stability there by pressing the heel into the hand, hand into the heel. But you're still trying to find some breath here in the movement. And about 3, I think we may have done 4 there if you did the full group with me. Then again, rounding the back to release the knee as safely as you can. And landing in some shape or form. Again, just have a little shake out. Knees bent. And this time with the feet a little bit wider. And fast movement side to side. Okay, so see how we go on the opposite side. So, really getting connected with your strong leg through the feet, the toes, almost a sense of pressing that foot into the ground. And then rounding the back in order to access this ankle, to release the leg down, to say knee ideally heading directly towards the floor below the hip. Maybe going back a little bit with the pelvis coming forward to really open in the quads. Let the back shoulder release down if it can comfortably. And tricky side for me. So elbow bent and then knee slightly bent. And if things are okay, you have a little bit of a rock forward. It doesn't have to be far. Partly coming from that bend in the knee. So mainly coming from that bend in the knee. So 3 or 4 times. Coming back up to your starting position and bending the knee and just pivoting forward just a real small distance. So a bit of stability in the shoulder through this movement in the hand. And pivot forward, grow, and coming back to standing. Okay. This body's had enough of that one for now. So round in the back and coming back to standing. Okay, so that takes quite a lot of takes a lot of focus, and obviously a lot of shaking or whatever. We're not ready for it. I'm not sure I was ready for it that much today, but it's something we can go back to. We can spend a little bit more time stabilizing. You can do the more familiar one when you just extend the arm up, so you get that little bit more counter feeling of strength on the real strong on the leg, the foot on the ground side. So just finding ways to be creative, to working on your balance, and you're getting quite a lot going on in that movement, aren't you? You're getting quite a lot of work on the quad, quite a lot of work on your stability, your lengthening. So a lot going on. That's why I'm standing on one leg. So that's a little bit of practice for the week, maybe on its own. Okay, we'll just do one more movement to finish with. Yes, so we're just going to do a squat, and we're going to do a squat slightly different that we've been doing recently. Again, let's get into the full class. So it's this bit where I try and work out how far I want my legs apart. So it's wider than shoulder. My toes are coming out from my knees. I have this sense of sitting back and sitting down so that the legs are active. But when I'm sitting down, I'm just trying to avoid over-arching my back or sweeping the bum underneath, somewhere in neutral if I can. But safe for the lower back. So if you do need to slightly tuck under, do. But if you can find your neutral, find your neutral. And Cossack arms. So palm down on this lower arm, palm on the top arm. Relax the shoulders down there from here. So you'll learn where your starting point is. So we're going to go down for a count of 10, come up for a count of 10. So it's a slow movement. So we're going to start now. So going down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Coming up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so it's hard to gauge how much movement between each number. So we're going to try for the second time, see how it goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Coming up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well done. And let's open the arms up back. Open the arms up and around the back. So there's a lengthening through the back and an opening through the collarbones. One more opening. And then relaxing the arms down, finding the toes and the heels to get yourself back together. And we'll finish there. So balance, strengthen the legs, see how they feel now. And a few of those things will be following through. And yeah, see how the practice goes and hopefully see you next week. Thanks for joining. Okay, happy balancing.